about these things. And I also just want to note, well, I'm a local resident and an economist with experience in municipal finance and P3s. I seem to be one of many independent economists here who've got some critical ideas or serious concerns about this proposal. This is the third time OSEC has come to the City of Ottawa asking for hundreds of millions of dollars. If approved, we will have sunk another $500 million into the project on top of the $200 million plus already. This amounts to $500 for each and every resident of the city. Think about this. So for a typical family of four, $2,000. The city was supposed to receive money back through the waterfall. It hasn't received a cent back from this and now doesn't expect to. As the EY due diligence reports notes, this may not be the last time. The city may find themselves committed to further investment. Quote, they claim Lansdowne is a resounding success. Why are they then coming back a third time for a public bailout? OSEC has also falsely claimed in an email sent out that the facility is at the end of its life and threatened that if we don't bail them out again, it will put an end to sports, entertainment, and cultural activities that take place at Lansdowne. This is a falsehood, a hollow threats, and nobody should fall for them a third time. The report states the facility is functionally obsolete. But what does this mean? It means it has operational and financial inefficiencies, energy and sustainability efficiencies, and is generally non-compliant with current building codes, like a lot of older buildings, and is aesthetically inconsistent with the rest of Lansdowne site. It does not mean that it is obsolete or anywhere close to the end of its life. The engineering study commissioned by the City of Ottawa found that it could last for another 30 plus years until 2054 at a cost of just $25 million over that period, less than a tenth or a 20th of the cost of this proposal. Instead, they propose to demolish a perfectly good, architecturally attractive arena and replace it with an ugly eyesore bunker of an arena with far fewer seats, making sports less accessible and reducing green space by 40,000 square feet. They're planning to substantially hike ticket prices, but expect higher attendance and much higher revenues. I say dream on, especially when there would be much better NHL arena close by in the Breton Flats. Except for the millions made in real estate, which is what this is really about, this will be a financial bust again, and they'll come looking for a bailout again and again. This proposal engages in a lot of creative accounting to show how the city will recoup this money. But the reality is these aren't real additional revenues. Virtually all of the revenues here, property taxes, tickets, surcharges, and the rest, will come at the expense of money that would otherwise be spent in the city. When friends come to visit from Montreal and Toronto, they are shocked by the level of poverty and homelessness in the city. They're not shocked by the aesthetic nonconformity of our sports arenas. Even Ottawa residents that I know don't want to go downtown because of this. We have over 100,000 living in poverty, over 7,000 homeless, over 400,000 visits to food banks in Ottawa last year, and an average waiting list for public housing of over 5 years. And yet this proposal calls for taking $500 million from these other priorities, or $500 from each resident of the city to bail out the billionaires. It works out to an average of $20 million for each of the 24 wards of the city. Don't tell me that there are no other projects or priorities that you or your residents need funding for. Is no more funding needed in your ward for community services, for parks, recreation, transit, affordable housing, environmental protection, libraries, or social services? If you vote to approve this and for a budget that doesn't fully address every single one of these other needs, you are saying that you would rather bail out the billionaires than fund these other priorities. We have a climate crisis, a crisis of poverty, homelessness, an affordability crisis, but as far as I'm aware, we don't have a billionaire liquidity crisis or a sports stadium aesthetic nonconformity crisis. I'm an economist. I usually deal with dispassionate economic and financial analysis, but I have to emphasize this proposal is not just profoundly financially and economically unsound, it is also profoundly immoral. It effectively involves taking $500 from each of your residents and from every pressing priority to blow $500 million on bailouts for billionaires.